So they're trying to put AI in there because it's a flashy thing. It's the thing that, CEOs want to have. They say, what AI do we have? Well, an AI only works based off the knowledge that's supplied to it. So if your knowledge management is not set up to supply that AI with the foundational knowledge that it needs to answer your questions or provide that instant satisfaction through AI, then it's not going to provide the right answers. You can read studies out there that I see up to 90% of AI projects fail at first, right? And the number one cause of that is the lack of knowledge. It's the garbage in, garbage out method. If you're supplying your AI with garbage, it's going to spit out garbage with the results of it.
Welcome to the Contact Center Gurus, the podcast for contact center and customer experience leaders. Learn best practices, new technology, tips and tricks, and more. Listen in.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Contact Center Gurus podcast. And today our topic is modern knowledge management, unlocking real CX results. And the theme is basically that we're going to explore how effective knowledge management drives customer loyalty, empowers agents to work smarter, and ramps up operational results across digital channels. The discussion will cover proven strategies, common pitfalls, and new trends reshaping the way customer-facing teams deliver service without focusing on any single tool or vendor. So with that said, I want to introduce you to my guest. I'm going to defer to my notes here. But joining me is Tyler Dixon. He's the Senior Vice President of Sales at LivePro, who's probably the most cutting-edge knowledge management solution on the market. And at LivePro, he helps contact centers and customer service teams get more out of their knowledge management. Tyler works primarily with organizations in financial services, healthcare, and insurance, where getting the right information to agents quickly isn't just nice to have, but it's essential. He's passionate about helping teams cut down handle times, speed up training, and build knowledge foundations that are ready for AI. When he's not talking shop about knowledge management, you might find Tyler on the golf course or cheering on the Duke Blue Devils. Welcome, Tyler.
Thanks, Darren. Pleasure to be here and talk with you a little bit
And
more
the
about
Duke Blue Devils, I'm embarrassed to ask, is that a football team?
It's a basketball team, college basketball team.
No. I missed it. I was
Almost
hoping
there.
for football, but that's cool. I imagine you graduated from Duke.
I did not, but I'm actually
Wow.
from Indiana and his connections with the coaches and everything else, so became a loyal fan as a young age.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, great to have you on. I think this is going to be a fascinating podcast because knowledge management is just one of those solutions that's essential for contact centers.
Yeah.
I know that there's contact centers that aren't using it, which I can't believe because this category of solution is one that pays for itself. People are actually paying more money right now not to have it than they would pay if they had it. Plus, of course, they're going to get all the results, some of which we'll talk about here today. So I'm going to kick things off with some questions that I have for you. And
Okay.
for viewers, if I'm looking aside, it's because I do have to look at my questions. I don't have them all memorized. I wish I had that kind of memory, but I don't. And I'm old. So let's start things off.
Okay.
What are the biggest obstacles organizations face when building a truly effective knowledge management culture?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, right? I mean, I think the times have come now where we're seeing with AI that knowledge is important. But the problem that organizations are really facing that we see when we implement is that knowledge is everywhere, right? There's not a single source of truth, and that's what you're trying to build with the knowledge management system. There might be knowledge in SharePoints, there might be knowledge in OneNotes, there might be knowledge in people's heads, there might be knowledge on SOPs and different things that are outdated in binders and sticky notes and everywhere. So knowledge is curated from every single source that you have, and you're really creating that single source of truth and bringing it all together that you can have it be updated, regulated, and improved upon daily on that basis, right? So we're not creating something in a knowledge base that's going to be stagnant and sit there on the shelf and be updated once a year or looked at and reviewed on those times. It's going to be updated on a continuous basis, based off the agent's feedback, based off the customer feedback, based off results that you're getting inside the tool. You really want it to be a living, breathing information, so that way you can apply the best employee engagement that will lead to the best customer satisfaction as well. But I think the biggest problem is we don't know where the knowledge is half the time. So how do you
Right.
find the knowledge to put it in to make a single source of truth?
Right. And, obviously there's a difference between knowledge base and knowledge management. Knowledge base, that could be SharePoint, for
Yes.
example.
Yep.
But how do you get that info from SharePoint and make it usable in interactions, real time, even with
Yep.
agents? And that's difficult. And especially since companies might have, they might have their knowledge base, they might have a separate FAQs, they have some of their stuff online or
Right.
in a portal. They have it all spread out, like you said. And what you're talking about is the means of taking all of that knowledge wherever it resides, pulling it all together, contextualizing it all, and making it usable, which both improves the agent's ability to handle interactions live, but it
Right.
also helps with self service as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's one thing that, a product like a true knowledge management compared to knowledge base can really differentiate. It is trying to provide that knowledge in different ways, right? We don't want just a stagnant PDF or something that you scroll through and find things. We're eliminating clicks. We're trying to provide answers to customers in any channel, and providing it accurately every single time, right? So having different types of knowledge inside the tool, whether it is pivot tables and spreadsheets, or whether it's document notes, and whether it's if then statements, whether it's SOPs and their work instructions, or a rocket that we call it in LivePro that is a decision making tree. All these different ways of knowledge can be able to be accessed faster for your agents. So they're answering questions in real time conversational speeds and providing that elite customer service to have those training times reduced, to have the AHT reduced, and improve that customer satisfaction through NPS scores and CSAT scores, right? That's what we're ultimately trying to do is put everything into the customer's hands in any channel they want to come to you at.
Love it. And I this just popped in my head, but it seems to me that with AI, that if a company already has a great knowledge management system, that's only going to it's going to make it faster for them to implement an AI, and it's going
Yes.
to improve the performance of the AI because it's pulling from real time comprehensive knowledge.
Yeah, I think too many companies have put the cart before the horse, right? So they're
Mhm.
trying to put AI in there because it's a flashy thing. It's the thing that CEOs want to have. They had to say, "What AI do we have?" Well, an AI only works based off the knowledge that's supplied to it. So if your knowledge management is not set up to supply that AI with the foundational knowledge that it needs to answer your questions or provide that instant satisfaction through AI, then it's not going to provide the right answers. You can read studies out there that see up to 90% of AI projects fail at first, right? And the number
Mhm.
one cause of that is the lack of knowledge. It's the garbage in, garbage out method. If you're supplying your AI with garbage, it's going to spit out garbage with the results of it. So you're not going to get the results that you want from an AI system if you don't have the knowledge to feed it. And also, it's starting to get siloed with not AI. There's so many different types of AI out there, and everything has to have a knowledge in it. So you put a little bit of knowledge in this AI tool, you put a little bit of knowledge in that AI tool, and then when you have to manage it and update it, you don't know where you have it at and which tools you have to update each one. So if you have one single
Mhm.
source of truth that can update all of those across, then you're updating it one time and you have those APIs to connect to everything, and everything runs like a seamless engine.
Question. So in that example of an AI that is working with a knowledge management system, is there like a two-way type of integration? So as far as updating the knowledge base, so let's say, in the AI, there's a new answer that a supervisor or manager approves, and all right, now this is part of the knowledge, accepted knowledge. And could it even update the knowledge management system? Can they update each other in some way?
There's different forms of doing it, like through feedback and through other ways of suggestions. So, that is the future of what we're doing at LivePro is really taking a good conversation that you've had on the call and providing that to LivePro, and we can create the knowledge article based off that, or the best practice of it based off through the flow of the knowledge management. So, while some parts of it is already out, other parts are building on it. So the two-way street is there, to make sure that if AI hears something that's going to be great on a call and in the knowledge, we want it to be exemplified in there as well.
Awesome. So, how do you measure the impact of knowledge sharing on both customer experience and employee satisfaction?
Yeah, I think there's different ways of doing it, right? So, I mean, the ultimate goal is to get that cost reduction and help out a call center. We achieve those things through the obvious ones, things like AHT reduction, or providing real time um, uh, answers so that you don't have to worry about finding the answers and putting customers on hold. So you might not want to reduce AHT because you still want to build that rapport with them, but you're providing them answers quicker and faster, so these conversations can lead to more problem solving exercises as well. But we also see things like reductions in training time as well, right? Getting agents onto the floor quicker is a must right now, and having them have confidence in what they're providing is the key. So having a tool where they can go and do a Google-like search and find the answers. And provide the format that they need to answer the questions and have confidence. And, our goal as a system is to really make sure that LivePro, when they go in there on day one and they type in the answer, they can actually follow through the prompts and answer the customer's call. It might be an easier call at first, and then you train them on the other ones. But ultimately, we get to the point where they are searching any question or any keyword into the system, and they can find the response and the ways to answer the customer's questions instantly. So providing that elite answer database and giving the confidence for that employee really changes the spectrum of where they're at. There's no longer escalating calls to the next level. There's no longer having not having a first call resolution because you don't have access to the documents that you need. You provide the answers in real time and answers with confidence because you have a system of truth.
Yep. And based on what you just shared, I could see the ROI there.
Exactly.
Especially with agents being able to get to the correct answers more quickly, that's going to improve the customer satisfaction and any scoring they might do. It's also going to reduce the time of every interaction, which obviously has cost benefits when it comes to labor, right?
That's absolutely correct. I mean, that's the name of the game, right? Every tool that you put in there is going to save you money somewhere you're not putting it in, probably. So with knowledge, as we said, it's a given nowadays because you have to have a single source of truth. It's imperative to make any contact center run efficiently, because you don't want those agents to get flustered. You don't want them trying to figure out, hey, I learned this in training 6 weeks ago. I know it's in here somewhere. Where is it at? Or you have that one-off call that comes in every 6,000 calls, but you have the answers to have it. And all you have to do is a simple search and you know exactly how to handle that customer all the way through that call. So increasing the confidence and morale of your employees will relate directly into the customer's satisfaction with how they called in and the answers they were provided.
Yeah. I think back and everywhere I ever worked, and if I had something like that, regardless of my role, but like in every company I was at,
We,
where I
we,
could go in and
we hear
based
that all
on
the
the
time.
company
I mean,
knowledge, ask a
one of my
question and
favorite
get an answer
quotes that
quickly.
I
How awesome would that have been?
Exactly. So one of my favorite quotes from one of our customers was, "You finally gave us a tool that we can actually use." Right? I mean, you're giving agents tools all the time with bells and whistles, but sometimes those things can be headaches. There's just so much stuff there that they have to do and click here and click that. With what we try to do at LivePro is a real simplistic thing, just a search bar, right? That's coming up and type in a question, type in an answer, and you get an AI generated response, or you get a walkthrough instruction, work instruction to walk you through it, or you get an if then statement to answer the questions, and the agents can flow. It's like watching the bouncing ball, right? Follow these steps and you can lead them to the answers that they want, and there's no confusion on any side. So that's the beauty of a knowledge management that's being updated and having that single source of truth all the way through.
Yeah. I'm imagining a remote agent, maybe with a BPO or not, and they're sitting there at home where probably they don't have some great collaboration tool like Collaboration Room where they're able to easily see and connect with their peers, their manager, their supervisor.
Right.
And as they're on interactions with customers, they're getting stumped and they feel siloed, like they're on an island and they're just scrambling to try to resolve this customer's purpose in calling. And it's just horrible. Whenever you don't have an answer and somebody wants it, and usually if they're calling, they're already probably upset or frustrated, and they
Naturally.
want to get on and off the phone as quick as they can and get their issue resolved. And as the agent, there's pressure. And so now an agent like that is given a knowledge management system like we're describing, and
Right.
now their whole business life becomes better.
Yeah.
They might even go from when I was a call center agent, from banging, my head on the desk and hating work
Right.
to enjoying it. And that may even have a positive impact on retention.
Well, I think that's the key, right? You don't want it to feel like Big Brother's watching you all the time or anything like that, and you have to, get flustered and figure out how do I solve this problem, put them on hold, and you're making a conversation worse by putting them on hold. We want to have
Yeah.
like a SME sitting on their shoulder is basically what a knowledge management system is, right? That subject matter expert on any topic is inside a knowledge management system, providing them the answers when they need it, how they need it, in the format they need it to answer the customer as quickly as possible in the best format and the accurate answer every time. I think, we'll get to it in some of the questions that I think you have laid up, but the feedback from the agents is the key to all of this in a knowledge management system because the feedback drives the system, right? They're the ones that know when a system has something that's inaccurate in it. They're the ones handling every day. Someone writes it and they put it out there. It could change later on, or you have a new update or new sales model or different return policy. Those things have to change and you have to update it, but you have to have that feedback to know that. You have to understand what calls are coming in and be able to drive that change every single time with it and make it be a living and breathing system.
Yep. So it always helps me to best understand a solution through a great case study.
Yeah.
And maybe you could share a great story or case study where knowledge management radically improved a client's customer experience.
Yeah, one that comes to mind that we're working on today, right now, is a Christian care ministry, insurance non-for-profit provider down in Florida, and what they do that changed things in a knowledge provider is really change the adoption of knowledge throughout the organization. Right, so they came to us. They had a knowledge base, but it was only 30% adoption. People didn't trust it. People didn't utilize it. With LivePro being implemented there, adoption rate has gone up to 70 to 80% of all employees. So don't even think about just the contact center. Think about knowledge on a grander scale, enterprise wide. Everybody needs knowledge. And if you put the permissions and governance behind it, then you can control what everyone sees, but you also have the knowledge out there for everyone. So think of HR documents, think of IT solutions, think of those things being accessible to everyone that needs them with the right permissions behind it. Those things are key. But Christian Care also was able to do training, right? Reduce training from 10 weeks for an agent down to 4 weeks. That's crazy. I mean, think of how much time and cost effective that is to get an agent on the phone and get them answering calls or providing service within 4 weeks compared to 10 weeks. Cutting the training time in half is huge to an organization. And other things that improve there are really the engagement, the governance, and efficiency of their knowledge system. So one thing that's really cool about them right now is that what we have done is we've taken that step and made it a step farther to do self-serve. So that what we're doing now with them is creating a members portal that has the knowledge that the agents would provide right into the agent or right into the customer's hands and letting them self-serve themselves using a search bar, using navigation to go all the way through and provide the right answer to them efficiently and making sure that they have the tools needed to have that elite self-service capabilities.
Well, and we talked a little bit before kind of about ROI. And at this point, you shouldn't implement a solution unless there's an ROI or unless it's saving you money. And how do you work with clients? What does it look like as far as uncovering what their ROI would be working with you at LivePro? How does that work?
Yeah, I think it's, those three. metrics that we've talked about already, right? Is the
Mhm.
what is your training time now, and let's
Mhm.
talk to your training teams. Let's understand what are they training on, right? If they're not training on the knowledge base itself of where they can find answers, because some people still just showcase things and then they show the tool later on. You have to train on what tools they're utilizing in the training from day one. So if we can implement that at the start, and even we have integrations with some of these simulation tools as well, right? So then they're using simulated trainings on their knowledge already, and not made up knowledge or made up things that embeds confidence into the tool, and the agents themselves, right? So they have confidence in day one, because no matter what they do when they hit the floor day one, they're going to be scared to death when they take the first call.
Yeah.
I don't care how much simulation you do to it. I don't know how much knowledge they have into the tool and have the confidence. When you pick up that call for the first time, you're trying not to pee your pants and make sure the customer answers, correctly, and you have a happy customer at the end. So what we're trying to do is provide those things. So training time is one, handle time is another one. I mentioned a little bit earlier about handle time. Maybe you don't want to reduce the handle time because you're still trying to embed that loyalty with the customer, right? You're not trying to rush them off the phone or anything like that. But if you're providing them an answer quicker, you can continue that conversation and dive deeper into it. Or if you're on the sales side, if you're providing, selling options, if you're providing them feedback all the way through that sales cycle, they know more things about it. You can upsell them more and more and more because you have the knowledge of what you can upsell them inside the tool, guiding them through those steps. So I think those two are the two major ones. But we also have, just the standard reporting behind the scenes. So how many knowledge articles are accessed? Telling your organization, hey, these are the top call drivers, based off the knowledge that that agents are accessing, or which articles aren't in the system anymore and they need to be archived from those things. So if you keep it living and breathing throughout the entire time, then you can understand how your knowledge stays fresh, relevant, and making sure you're providing accurate answers. Because the worst thing you could do is keep escalating calls or provide inaccurate answers and people are calling back again, right? That's what you're trying to avoid. You're trying to find answers that are solved, that are accurate every single time a customer calls in.
Yeah, and through self-service.
And through self-service.
Obviously,
Exactly.
if self-service works really well, there's this whole new generation, Gen Z, who, by and large, from what I've learned about them, and we even did a whole workshop, CX related to Gen Z. But if they can find it on their own
Yep.
without having to, they want to avoid talking to anybody if they can, and they prefer digital interactions versus voice. But if they can actually use self-service and get their problem resolved or get their answer, they're going to choose that. And this is certainly the means of serving Gen Z in the best way possible. And they're
Yep.
becoming the biggest generation with the most spending power. So they're the ones everybody should be catering to. And knowledge management certainly is going to
Absolutely.
assist in that.
And I think one thing we do with our tool that's kind of unique in that perspective, right, is that you're thinking about all these different ways that people contact you. There's different articles probably that need to be ranked, whether they contact you by phone or whether they're doing self-service or whether they're doing, through an email, or different ways they can go, a chat bot. There's so many ways they can contact you, but you want the knowledge to be read one way that it can supply all
Mhm.
those tools with the right accurate answers. So we do things called page containers that can provide information. Hey, this is all relevant for agents that are taking calls. This little part right down here, add that to people that are doing self-service. So that way you don't have to rewrite the article 4 different times to handle all the different ways they contact in and all the little nuances. You're adding one page and segmenting it out what would need to be on different areas if they contact you in different ways. So it provides you the flexibility to keep one article maintained the entire time to handle every single different interaction that pertains to that article.
Love it. So,
Absolutely.
what key ingredients separate a thriving knowledge management ecosystem from one that just collects digital dust?
Yeah, I think I hinted on it earlier, but I'll really dive deep into it now. It's the feedback, right? Feedback from both employees and, if you're doing self-service, customers, right? So understanding that when you write these articles, people are writing them, and they have, maybe in our system in LivePro, you can definitely put like, review dates. So when are we going to review this article next? Maybe it's 6 months or once a year. You always touch that article. Make sure it's living and breathing, not collecting dust. The article has to be reread, multiple times throughout the year to keep it up to date. But maybe it's
Mhm.
being updated more because you're providing that feedback from the the agents themselves. Let's start with the agents. Agents are providing feedback if a policy has changed and say this is not accurate, or maybe they're providing feedback. Hey, this is a little harder to go through the flow of this script. Can we adjust it to some things? We're providing feedback from the agents and encouraging them to do that through star ratings and telling them to leave more words and feedback to them, and then providing them updates on how that feedback is being used, whether they're implementing the change or whether they're this is a system that needs to be tweaked a little bit there. This way their voice is heard in the feedback and they're encouraged to leave more. I have a customer right now that's doing, rewarding agents for leading feedback, giving them gamification points almost by leading feedback that encourage the system to be living and breathing and provide that, hey, my voice is heard. This is how we're changing things. Now I have a system that I know is going to be updated and be the single source of truth. And then let's take it on the other end with a customer through self-service. If you provide still the feedback on there and allow them to lead feedback, you can keep evolving that customer service and self-service to make sure that it's accurate every time, right? If they're getting frustrated in the loop and have to call in because of it, that's not a true self-service. So we want to make sure the information is flowing for them and they can provide feedback and say, hey, this was really helpful, or hey, this needs to be improved so I can finish the process all the way through.
Yeah. Cloud Tech Gurus is partnered with half a dozen gamification solutions. And I love what you said about gamifying the knowledge management system, because that's just going to be another means of making sure that that data is as good as it can be and updated
Absolutely.
as frequently as it needs to be.
Yeah, I mean that's absolutely the case, right? It needs to be living and breathing. It's not something that you do the 2 or 3 weeks of implementation, get all your knowledge, and then you forget about it and sit on it, because then it just becomes just a depository. We don't want anything to be a depository. We want it to be an actionable item database that you can pull things out, put things in, update it frequently, and really make sure it's a single source of truth that everyone can know that their information is accurate every time.
Love it. So, my final question. So, with AI on the rise, what should leaders watch out for to ensure their knowledge management strategy remains human centered, adaptable, and scalable?
Yeah, I think human centered, right? We said that it's ultimately providing the customer with the right answer, no matter what channel they come through. So as we're getting more AI out there, we're having AI voice bots, AI chat bots, all these AI metrics out there. But we still want to make sure that the human on the end of it is getting their question answered the way they want it to be answered. So I think it's more important to have a knowledge base that feeds all of these different avenues, to make sure that the customer can be heard no matter what channel. You talked about Gen Z wanting to do self-serve, but you still have other people that want to be phone called and want to be heard and make sure they're handled accurately. And when they get off the call, it's a self-service from a phone call, but they're actually getting the answer they need from that thing. So having one single source of truth that's providing the accurate answer, no matter what means they come through, that's the key portion of it. And don't get blindsided by the bells and whistles of all these AI. Make sure you're strengthening it with the knowledge behind it. That so your answers are accurate every single time, no matter what channel they come through. I think that's the key behind everything. We can't get fascinated by these bells and whistles. We have to supply the bells and whistles with the right things to make sure they're accurate.
Awesome. So, uh, as we close, is there anything else about knowledge management that you think people maybe don't know but should know? Or maybe anything about what's going on at LivePro or your roadmap or evolution that is especially interesting?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I would like to share is that knowledge management and knowledge providing is becoming a necessity now, right? I think there's evolutions in the contact center space through my years here that have seen things become more of a necessity. You've always needed a phone system, right? But I don't ever think that you used to be able to handle workforce management through spreadsheets pretty accurately and things like that. But now when you look at things, almost everyone has a workforce management solution out there, because it's just too complex and too many cost savings that you can do that. I think the same thing happened with QA, right? You had a system where QA was a nice to have. You monitored 2 calls a week, and that was accurate for your agents. And now you have
Yeah.
AI, and every call is being monitored all the time, and you get the feedback in real time. I think that's
Mhm.
the next step with knowledge, right? Knowledge. Even 2 years ago when I took this job, knowledge was not talked about at trade shows or anything else. And now when you can't go to a trade show or a conference anywhere where knowledge is not talked on the main stage. And that's because
Mhm.
the AI boom is there. And we have to feed the AI boom with the knowledge that it's there. So no longer is a SharePoint site where people are searching and not finding answers and getting frustrated with things or having the lack of governance to edit this document compared to that document, and three documents are out there saying the same things, but only four lines are changed in each one. You have to have the governance behind it. You have to have the security behind it to make sure that these AI projects are going to get off the ground and get running correctly and supply the answers and the results that you want them to have. So some things we're doing at LivePro is just that. Where a roadmap has duplicated detector trying to find out, make sure there's not two documents living out there in a knowledge management system that are providing close to the same things. And even the other biggest thing is putting AI into our tool itself, right? We're feeding AI to other things, but AI is also in the knowledge provider as well, by Gen AI answers. So you type in a question and the answer pops up. It gives you the sources behind the truth, and it doesn't hallucinate. It's not going out to the web to try to find answers. It's only utilizing the knowledge it has accessible to it and that it has access to. And that's the knowledge that's inside of LivePro. So I think those are the key things. You don't want it to hallucinate. You don't want it to try to find. You don't want it to learn off knowledge. You want it to have the source that it has and provide the answers from the source and not being trained to do other things. So um, the future is bright for knowledge. I'm excited to be a part of it. Like you said, LivePro is a cutting edge part of it, and when we try to keep up, the main thing we do that I like to point out, we learn from our customers. We go on site, we implement with them, we set up the system with them. We make sure that they're successful from day one with us, and become a partner and not just a customer, because it's that white glove service that we're going to provide to them and make sure that their knowledge is curated the way they want it to be most successful for their employees and for the customers, and everything works in a kosher environment to make sure that happens.
Love it. One more thing,
Yeah.
when I think about, obviously, gosh, right now, I still don't think that we know for sure that we're stable on the economy and that things aren't going to get worse. And so I still think this year and next year, critical times to look at all the ways you can cut costs
Hmm.
while improving efficiency and contact center operations and so on. And I think there are solutions like workforce management where the ROI is just crazy. You can't ignore it. You need a good workforce management, or if you're using one now, and if there's something better that gives you better adherence and scheduling, you need that. And knowledge management is another solution, again, that typically has a pretty high ROI. What kind
Absolutely.
of range of ROI are you seeing for clients with LivePro?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty instant, right? I mean, within 3 to 6 months, they're paying for the system itself, and the project's moving forward. So, we can get those answers and get those things. I said the training time. If you're reducing your training time in half, I mean, think about how many new hire classes that come through on a yearly basis at some of these organizations. If they're going from training even from 3 weeks down to 1 week, we can do that to make sure they have accurate answers. So, I mean, the ROI is almost instant, and we say that we want to make sure that you have a tool that you believe in and that it works for you from the start. So that's why we make sure that we come on site. We make sure you're set up correctly. We're not giving you a tool and telling you, hey, good luck. See if it works and contact us if it doesn't. We're making sure it works from day one and all the way through the partnership.
Awesome. And if Cloud Tech Gurus engages with you guys for one of our consulting clients when it's finally time to look at knowledge management tools, you're going to be able to, in the meetings with the client, really uncover what their ROI is going to be and be able to give them more detailed information on when they might see an ROI, that they might be looking at a 30% ROI or whatever that number is going to be. You have the means of doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. We have our ROI calculator on our website right now. But we know as we provide more detail to us, understanding the lay of the land, how long the training time is, how much the employees are costing, whether you want to are they BPO, are they onshore, are they nearshore? There's so many things that factor into these things. But yeah, we can absolutely walk through and prove that use case, so that you have the ammunition to get this project approved, because that's what we want. The ROI is strong, and we're absolutely happy to walk you through how we can show that.
Awesome. And, for the viewers, if you're not using knowledge management, it's an essential now. And you can reach out to me. My marketing wizard will make something appear on the screen with contact information so that you can learn more. If you want to see a LivePro demo, we could arrange that for you. I'll bring on Tyler or the most appropriate member of his team, and we'll show you that. We can walk through the ROI calculator and what knowledge management could potentially provide you as far as ROI. And so we would love to help. This is a solution that's a no brainer. We have over 100 contact center consultants on our roster. And when they look at LivePro, they are blown away. It's semi disruptive in what they're providing and the impact it can have. So it's certainly one we highly recommend you take a look at. And we are a partner with LivePro and can help you in that regard. So, Tyler, this was great. I think this is one of the most exciting podcasts I've done in some time. You've been an awesome guest, and I want to thank you kindly for joining us today.
Absolutely, Darren. It's my pleasure to be here with you. Hopefully, we can do some more soon. Like I said, now is the time for knowledge, so we're excited to be a part of it and hope that we can get some more people and get in touch and showcase what we have to offer. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you more today.
Let's just say 2026 is the year of knowledge. It's knowledge management year, and it's something everybody should be learning about and looking at implementing. So, thanks again. I appreciate it, and you enjoy the rest of your day.
Awesome. Thanks, Darren.